All on tour.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it most, the friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events and seeing my friends that I've made through the years.
If you love the game, give back to the game.
You become the calm in the storm.
You can decide how much you want to work and how much you don't want to work.
You never stop learning.
Every time I work an event, I always learn something.
It takes time, it takes experience.
Find your niche.
We need you, and I think you will find it very rewarding.
Get out there, start trying to do it, and see if you like it.
Welcome in, everybody, to day 2 of the 2024 ITA Conference Masters Tournament here in Rome, Georgia. Day 2, actually round 3. Played 2 matches yesterday, so we'll kick off with quarterfinal matches here. The importance to these matches is a berth in the semifinal and automatic entry into the NCAA singles tournament. Our featured match this morning on the men's side. You see them warming up now. On the far side, number 1 for Georgia last year, Thomas Paulsell. And it's an all Georgia, it's a state battle here, is on the near side. Paliouras from Georgia Southern. Covered this on most of the broadcasts, but for those tuning in for the first time today, talk about what the importance of this Conference Masters tournament is. And that is entry into the NCAA singles tournament in addition to the prestigious title itself. But the NCAA singles tournament this year revamped in terms of entry. Used to be based off things like ranking other than some automatic berths at the end of the season. Now with the individuals moved to the fall to be played the week of November 18th in Waco, 19th to 24th, you see you either had to win your way in through the All-Americans, regionals, or this week at one of two tournaments, the Conference Masters or the Sectional Championships, those going on at the same time. 10 singles qualifiers at All-Americans, 26, that's 2 from each region, the finalists, from each region. There will be 4 here at the Conference Masters. That'll be your 4 semifinalists. And then 24 from sectionals. There are 4 sections, so that's 6 players from each section. The 4 semifinalists, and then the 2 winners of the playoffs between the 4 quarterfinal losers that will all make it in. That's what the pathway to the NCAA singles. You can see on there the doubles numbers as well. Same thing going on here this week at the Conference Masters and Sectionals as players trying to earn their last-minute entries into the NCAA tournament. Demetris Paliouras here on the near side goes by Demi. A senior this year for Georgia Southern, native of Greece. He was the conference player of the year last year in the Sun Belt. Earned his nomination. Sun Belt chose to do their Conference Masters appointees based off of ITA rank. Would have gone to Van Schalkwijk from Old Dominion, but he won the regionals. Excellent performance there. A win over Dylan Dietrich from Virginia in the final. So with him already in the NCAA tournament, not eligible to play in this Conference Masters. That's one thing I didn't mention. If you were already in the NCAA, if you'd qualified through All-Americans or regionals, you can't play in either the sectionals or this Conference Masters tournament. So that opened the door for Paliouras. Paulsell for Georgia, also a senior. Seattle, Washington native. Played the top spot for Georgia last year. Warm-ups are done. Looking like we're getting ready to go. And it looks like our cameras had a little malfunction here. Bear with us here. We'll see if we can get that back just a moment. All right, in touch with our media group here in Rome, and it looks like all of our cameras in this bank have gone down on us. So I'm going to send us to a quick break, and we try to take care of that. And we shall be back momentarily.
New balls, please. At Dunlop, we've been making tennis balls for over 100 years. Balls played at more tournaments globally than any other brand. Officially endorsed by the ATP Tour. Performance runs through our DNA. Dunlop, the #1 ball on tour.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it most. The friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events and seeing my friends that I've made through the years.
If you love the game, give back to the game.
You become the calm in the storm.
You can decide how much you want to work and how much you don't want to work.
You never stop learning.
Every time I work an event, I always learn something.
It takes time, it takes experience.
Find your niche.
We need you, and I think you will find it very rewarding.
Get out there, start trying to do it, and see if you like it.
Okay, it looks like we've got our cameras back. I think we missed the first game with our technical difficulties. That game won by Thomas Paulsell of Georgia. He held, so it'll be Paliouras to serve here. On serve, love one in the first. Sorry for the early morning technical delay. Unforced error there from Paulsell. Spoke to Paliouras' head coach this morning, Andrew Goodwin. Goodwin, a good friend of mine, history going way back. He was actually a coach for my nephew in college. Spoke to him about his player here. Got some insights. Unforced there from Paliouras. After that conversation, I'm expecting to see a lot of fight and a lot of grind coming from Paliouras here on the far side of the court. Said nothing flashy. Not going to be the big hitter. Not going to be the guy banging the ball. Going to construct his points. He's going to fight. Paulsell, a little more known commodity since I get to do the SEC coverage during the year. Oh, thought that might have looked just wide. Get ourselves on top of the scoring here. Paulsell called that good. Been some very good line calling so far at this tournament. If you were with us yesterday, there were no chairs. They had roving officials covering 2 courts at a time. Play was very sportsmanlike. See Paliouras there. Definitely has the game plan of getting into that Paulsell backhand corner for the time being. Even though Paulsell doing an okay job of running around a few of them. Good job pinning him over there for Demi. That ball stays in. Looked like it was headed wide off the racket, but it got down just in time. So 40-30, still a couple game points. One of the fun things about these Masters tournaments, given there's one entry from each conference, is that means there's only 4 Power 4 guys in the tournament, so the rest of the conferences are your small to mid majors, so you get to see the fun matchups here. It's going to be a deciding point. That miss on the overhead. Call it an overhead. Demi, not the tallest guy in the world, but still sort of a modified 3/4 overhead as that ball didn't bounce as high as he would have liked. So we're going to get a deciding point. But one of the things you see in some of these matches, because you get the Power 4 guys against the smaller conferences, sometimes you can get a little nerves early from the quote-unquote underdogs. Oh, and that one pulled just wide from Paliouras, and it's a break for Paulsell. Paliouras certainly looking content to grind from the baseline. Felt like there were an opportunity or two there where he could have come in behind one of those as an approach. Not his game. And he did just that there, maybe feeling like he should have done that in the deciding point. Missed the volley. It was a good approach. Set himself up with a nice volley there. Just didn't execute. It was a bit long, but it was a good play. And you saw Paulsell early actually took a forehand from halfway to the service line and elected not to come in behind it. So he as well, at this point, content to feel out the baseline rallies. Deep again there from Paliouras. We talked about the fact that many of these cases, some of the smaller conference guys might have a little nerves. Could be the case here for Paliouras early. Just needs a little time to settle into this. Had a good start to his service game before getting it to a deciding point. That's a good inside-out forehand there. For Paulsell, we get another look at that. Good wide serve, short ball, +1 put away. Can't do it any better. And it's another game for Thomas Paulsell. Just a single break, but a 3-love lead now for Paulsell as Paliouras settles in. That is assistant coach Kankis there with Paliouras. Coach Goodwin back with the rest of the guys. This tournament being played in Rome, Georgia. Georgia Southern, about 4.5 hours away, but a site that these guys are familiar with. Sunbelt plays their conference tournament there, so not the first time on these courts, and I'm sure Paulsell and his Georgia teammates have seen plenty of action here as well. Paulsell playing here. Teammates. I believe Miguel Perez Pena made it to the finals at regionals, so I believe he earned an automatic berth into the NCAA tournament already. I think teammate Ryan Colby lost in the semifinals at regionals, which probably means that he's playing at the sectionals this weekend to look to punch his ticket. And this match will provide us a winner, an entry winner into the singles tournament. Clean winner there from Paulsell. Interesting tactics early here. You see Paulsell seeming to be content to play that rally game. Paulsell coming in the 3 seed, obviously the favored player, and he looks like he's going to force, with things going his way, he's going to force Paliouras to do something Oh, there's a nice drop shot winner off the let. Again, we play the lets in college. No ad scoring. Play the lets. But Paulsell, with the early 3-love lead at this point, looks to be saying, hey, either I'm going to start missing or you're going to have to start forcing it. And I'm not going to change anything until one of those two things happens. And that is just the way you force it if you're Paliouras, the recipient of the short ball. See that short serve. Took advantage. Clean winner. Well put together point from Paliouras there. He didn't get too eager. You saw Paulsell sticking to the game plan. Just rallying, forcing Paliouras to go for it. He looked like on one of those inside-out forehands, he might have been thinking about coming in behind it and forcing the action, but he stuck to his game plan, which was rallied out, and he lasted that one out on Paulsell. So 40-15, same place he was here on his first service game before it got away from him. This one doesn't get away. Short ball there. Paulsell unable to get that backhand slice back over. Maybe getting a little tricky with it. So 3-1 for Paulsell. We look at how these guys got here. Paulsell received a bye in the first round. Draw of 32, not quite 32 conferences to feed into this. So as the 3 seed, Paulsell receiving a bye. Paulsell not necessarily liking the call, but confirmed by both the chair and assistant coach Kankas there. Short ball. Error from Paulsell. If Paliouras can manage to get this break back and keep this tight, this one has, just with the game styles here, this one has the makings of a good 2.5 hour battle if it's close. Both guys very content to stick to their game from the baseline right now. Good depth. Good depth there from Paliouras. Mentioned Paulsell got a bye in the first round. He knocked off Azuma Visaya of Hawaii in 3 sets yesterday afternoon. 6-love in the third. That's what got him here. Talk about Paliouras' path after this point. one just missed. Wasn't even sure from this end. It was a good attempt from Paliouras there off the court, going down the line. Paliouras, first round win over Aisa Benchikroon from South Carolina State in 3 sets. Oh, and that overhead clips the tape and pops wide. And it's going to be 3 break points here for Paliouras to try to get this one back on serve. That might help settle those nerves. They're probably already gone, but a break to get back on serve would certainly help a lot. And then in the afternoon, another 3-setter for Paliouras yesterday over Alex Okonkwo from Tulsa. Head coach Andrew Goodwin's former school. Paliouras called that one good, but kind of looked to the side hoping for some help and someone to call it out. Wouldn't have mattered because he'd already called it good. At that point, you just confirm to your player, yeah, it was good, regardless of whether it was or not. So 2 break points still here for Paliouras. So facing 3 break points, Paulsell throws 2 aces in. That's how you get it to deuce and a deciding point here. Again, in college on the deciding point, the receiver gets to choose his side. Looks like Paliouras will take this one in the deuce court. Kicking himself is Paliouras. Had 3 break chances. Paulsell comes up with 2 aces and then a serve that doesn't get returned, as Paliouras just finds the tape with that backhand return. And Paulsell will take a 4-1 lead. Into the tiebreak. For those that know me, and you can see my last name on the screen, funny story, I literally had to ask Demi to pronounce his last name as well as talk to Coach Goodwin about it. Said, what are the odds we're going to get to broadcast someone whose last name rhymes with mine? Paliouras, Halioris. Certainly not an everyday thing, both of us Greek. Clearly for the folks back in Greece watching their native son, I am butchering that in English, but you look forward from this match. Obviously, the winner earns an entry into the NCAA singles. That's objective number 1. Objective number 2, to try to win the tournament. The winner of this match will get the winner of Sebastian Domingo of Notre Dame, Amar Tahirovic of Bucknell. Just wide. Paulsell thought he had a winner there. Looked at the chair for confirmation. Again, yesterday mentioned we had no chairs. Just a roving official between the 2 courts, so not really much of a chance for overrules. But unlike what you may have heard or seen, especially in team duel matches, The line calling was very generous and very sportsmanlike all day yesterday. Both the men and the women. That ball just, second serve just in, looked like it might have been deep, and that might have just been enough to take the concentration of Paulsell away as he sailed the return long. Speaking of the women, we got a featured match for them. Sometime after this one, another quarterfinal match. That's going to be between Katja Wiersholm of Cal and Julia Haynes of UC San Diego. Tune in for that one. We may keep it on this stream. We may have another one depending on the start time for that. Little loose backhand there. From Paulsell, and Paliouras has managed to find his way to big leads in all of his service games. It was just that first one that got away from him at 40-15, but 40 love here. Just wide, so a nice easy hold for Paliouras, just what the doctor ordered. Being down a break. You see associate head coach Bryce Warren there talking to Thomas Paulsell. Eventually long from Paliouras, but this sort of resembling the practice, cross-court practice drills where coach just tells you corner to corner and you both hit backhands, and then eventually somebody will change it up and then you'll both hit forehands. These guys liking that backhand to backhand rally. Oh, just wide, but long, long rallies. I wish we had the ATP statisticians with us here, keeping stroke counts on these rallies. That was a long one. Something of note along those lines is the fact that they are using the Dunlop balls in the ITA events this year. Talk to the players and you'll hear that the Dunlop balls tend to fuzz up and get tougher to hit winners on quicker than the Wilson balls. And this style of play where these guys are just playing long rallies is certainly going to exaggerate that. The longer the set goes on, the more the balls are going to help those long rallies. New balls every set in college tennis. One of the biggest changes for the Georgia team this year, not necessarily on the court, but off. Paliouras heading to the wrong side there. But with the departure of the GOAT, longtime head coach Manny Diaz finished his career as head coach last season with the Bulldogs. Previously associate head coach Jamie Hunt had the associate tag removed. Now, the head coach for Georgia in his first full season. Ball just in on the line as it gets a long look from Paulsell, but a good forehand from Paliouras, just catching the line there. I can say that I hope for Jamie Hunt and for myself that we're both around long enough for me to get a Jamie Hunt bobblehead as I did a Manny Diaz bobblehead a few years back at a home match at Georgia. What a point from Paliouras there, painting the lines on both sides before getting in and making a great volley. You heard Paulsell tell him, good ball. And so now another break point, the fourth chance Paliouras has had now. 3 in the last service game of Paulsell, 1 here to try to get this one back on serve. Oh, and Paulsell gets the swinging volley at the service line and looked like he caught it a little off the frame, sent that one back to the fence. And it will be a break for Dimi Paliouras, and he gets it back on serve, 3-4. Certainly at this point, all the nerves are gone. We've got a tennis match now. On serve, 3-4 for Paliouras. And now it starts to become mental. Especially in these games where both players favor the play from the baseline. As now that you've given the break back, if you're Thomas Paulsell, you might start to let the thoughts creep into your head that Maybe I don't want to just sit here and rally. Or maybe that was simply the statistical probability of getting broken and the game plan's solid. Does he question himself, or does he just stick to the game plan here? We'll see. I mentioned it early, though. Coach Goodwin told me going to see a lot of heart and a lot of fight out of Paliouras. He's not going to give up. He's going to stick to his game. Nothing flashy, and that's exactly what we've seen so far. Interesting play from Paliouras there. You saw him come in early, but the Paulsell lob drove him back. Got us back into the rally again. That was a great defensive ball from Paliouras there. Paulsell hit a nice forehand down the line. Paliouras with the stretch, sort of squash-like return. Caught Paulsell coming in behind it because it was a good approach. But there was enough depth on that defensive return that it got a little into the feet of Paulsell, and he had to catch it early off the bounce and couldn't get it back. And that approach, the follow through off the approach from Paulsell, goes deep. And with every point, you can see the confidence for Paliouras growing, knowing he's in this match. All now. Slightly nervous spot here for Paliouras after just getting back on serve. Certainly like to keep it there. You hear the audible. From Paliouras there as he grabs that 30-all point. He knew that was a big point. 40-30 now, a couple game points for him to try to knot this one at 4-all. Would be the first time he was back even since before we started the match. He's been behind the entire way. Oh, not the way Paliouras saw that one playing out. But an interesting point all the way around. Paulsell hitting a few forehands from a couple steps inside the baseline. Making a clear choice not to follow them in. His last two approaches into the net have resulted in lost points. You can see why he probably doesn't want to go there. And then Paliouras did get in. Made a nice little cross-court short volley. But Paulsell eventually gives him an overhead. Couldn't put away. And it's a big hold for Paliouras on a deuce deciding point. And he indeed levels this match at 4-all. You see associate head coach Bryce Warren just encouraging Paulsell. It is mental at this point. Forget it and move on. So it's 4-all, new match. Coach Warren coming over his first year. Just deep off the net there with the Bulldogs. Coming over from Arizona after back-to-back Pac-12 regular season titles for the Wildcats. And it's a double from Paulsell. So a little momentum shift in the direction of Demi Paliouras for Georgia Southern. Hopefully Coach Goodwin and all the guys are back home watching this one. Shout out to you guys if you are. That one's wide and love 30 now for Paulsell. I think Coach Hunt and the rest of his guys probably down at Florida State this weekend for sectionals. Seminoles hosting that South section this weekend. Ooh, just wide. Paliouras saw that one. Had a great look. It was the right shot. He doesn't have a ton of pace, but he's hit that inside out semi-flat fairly well. And that miss on the move from Paliouras levels it at 30-all, so Paulsell fights from the love 30 hole pretty well. Now let's see if he can finish it here. 4-all, 30-all. Doesn't get much closer than that right now. Missed there from Paulsell. Going to bring up a couple break chances. So from 4-1, Paulsell finds himself 2 points away. Or a point away, I should say, from having Paliouras serve for the set. So big break points here. Oh, and it's wide, and Paulsell is broken. Paliouras from 4-1 down. Runs off 4 straight games. Takes the 5-4 lead. And I do indeed have confirmation with pictures. Georgia Southern guys in the weight room watching this match. Good luck to your guy. Paulsell now going to have to sit down and figure out what he wants to change. From 4-1 and seemingly rolling along fairly well, although we had a lot of deuce games in there. He's dropped 4 straight, and Paliouras now going to serve for the first set. We'll see if Paulsell chooses a change of a strategy here before the end of the set to try to get the break, or if he's going to stick to the game plan and not make any adaptations unless he does indeed drop a set. Paliouras looked very content there to settle back into that backhand-to-backhand rally if he could get it going. Paulsell electing to go backhand slice up the middle of the court, but into the net. So now 2 points away from a 1-set lead for Georgia Southern's Dimi Paliouras here with Georgia's Thomas Paulsell. And another missed return. And you can see the frustration starting to mount for Paulsell there. Can't win a point if you can't get the return down. And it'll be 4 set points. And there it is. A 6-4 first set for Dimi Paliouras after Going down 4-1 early. He runs off 5 straight games. And he'll take a 6-4 first set. You see our chair come down. She'll grab the balls, get some new balls out for the guys. Paulsell opting for a wardrobe change. Not opting, it doesn't appear, for the restroom break you see so often between sets for the player that dropped it, especially in finishing the way Paulsell did. Dropping 5 straight games certainly needs to reset here. You see Coach Warren with plenty of advice. We'll see if the game plan changes at all from his side. Don't think it's going to change in the least from the Paliouras side. Paliouras attempting to be the first player to knock out one of our top 4 seeds. Again, the top 4, your 4 semifinalists, I should say, will automatically qualify for the tournaments. All 4 of the top seeds in action right now. Those being top-seeded Sebastian Domingo of Notre Dame taking on Amar Tahirovic of Bucknell. The winner of this match will face the winner of that match. Paulsell is the 3 seed. 2 seed Zambor Velch of Baylor taking on Thiago Silva of Pacific at the moment. And 4 seed Anton Arjankin of Western Michigan, who was warming up on this court prior to this match, taking on Daniel Torres of Northern Arizona. Winners of those 4 matches all qualifying for the tournament. A little early to tell, but it certainly looks like a little more aggression from Paulsell here. But that could have just been because he got the short ball, put the backhand in the corner. It was an easy approach for him. See if that strategy continues. Oh, it's a nice backhand down the line from Paliouras. Get another look at that one. Pretty simple, didn't overhit it. Paliouras seems to have found a little chink in the armor, if you will, of Paulsell. He's getting that backhand long. If he can keep deep into that backhand of Paulsell's, it's been successful. It's a good serve from Paulsell to save that one after 40-love became 40-30. Paulsell holds to open the second, as he did the first, before running out to a 4-1 lead that was quickly erased. We'll see what Paliouras has in response here. between the men and the women here in Rome. Only one of our top 4 seeds on either side has been eliminated. All 4 men's top 4 left. The number 1 seed on the women's side, Claudia de las Heras of San Diego, the only one to lose so far. She dropped her first match. Had a bye in the first round. Second round match with Sofia Maria Barbalescu of Richmond. So 7 of our 8 top 4s still alive, fighting for an entry into the singles tournament at the NCAAs this morning. Forced error from Paliouras there. Can only imagine the nerves running through Coach Goodwin at the moment, since he's not able to be on site. It's tougher to watch than it is to play or even be there next to him, honestly. That backhand just long. So a very slight opening here for Paulsell to try to do what he did in the first set, and that is hold and break for 2-love. He did just that in the first set. Oh, that serve clipped the tape. Paulsell did a good job getting out of the way of it to get it back, and then Paliouras a little too eager to jump on the short ball. Sent it long, and Paulsell now 3 break chances early here in the second. And a lazy missed forehand from Paliouras, and Paulsell gets the early break here in the second, as he did in the first, for 2-love. So once again, serving from out front. We'll see if Paulsell can flip the result this time. You can see there's going to be no quit in Paliouras. He's immediately on it. Very positive. You see guys that get down on themselves when things don't go their way. Paliouras looks like someone that's going to stay positive. That ball good from Paliouras. He's trying to get that break right back. You see the expression, the sigh let out from Paliouras as he sent that backhand long, just exasperated. He couldn't keep that ball in play. Honestly, doesn't look like just yet Paulsell's really made any big strategic changes. Maybe just knowing he needs to execute better. That ball was deep. Paulsell not a fan of the call. I see where Paulsell's coming from, because I think he thought the out call may have been because it was wide. But from this angle, it didn't look wide. It did look deep. Nevertheless, it's 2 break points now for Paliouras to try to get this one back on serve. Wow, risky play. Worked out for Paulsell. That was a fairly big second serve from him. Bigger than he had been hitting. Looked like it was just barely inside the service line. And then ripped the winner off of that. Couple risky strokes for him on double break point. So now it'll be a deciding point. Just wide from Paulsell. And you hear the scream from Paliouras. He gets the break back. And a nice little high five from Coach. That ball didn't miss by much, but it was wide. You see the reaction from Paulsell. He knows he's in a dogfight. Paliouras isn't going anywhere. He's not going to make it easy on him. And I continue to wonder. If and when Paulsell's going to change anything up here. Still got a lead on the scoreboard, obviously, but it's on serve here in the second. Lead on the scoreboard in the second set, that is. But we're back on serve. And it just feels like even if he executes well on his game plan, It's going to be a very tight, long battle here. Probably needs to change something up tactically. It's Paliouras, though, that's definitely had more approaches to the net. Oh, the second overhead. Again, it was another of the sort of three-quarter overheads. That first one, a good overhead. The second one, not quite full extension for Paliouras, so it's a little modified three-quarter arm swing. And as he did in the first set on one of those, found the tape. Again, it's that backhand unforced error from Paulsell. That's the spot that Paliouras has found to be working. For those wanting to see our women's featured match, looks like it's going out on court. We don't want to go split screen. The point of the featured match is to get them full screen for you. So we will start that match on another stream and leave it up. Good ball from Paulsell there. You can see him trying to get himself into it. Forehand just inside the baseline. But that women's match will go up on a stream, and I'll join with commentary at the conclusion of this match whenever that may be. Another approach from Paliouras, but not close on that volley above the shoulder. Sent it straight down. And Paulsell now, you can see he's not going away. Body language still all good on his side. He's been fighting this game to try to get that break right back. And he's got a couple break chances here. That was a good serve. Set up the whole point for Paliouras. Wasn't able to put the +1 away, but he put it in a spot where the point was never in doubt. And now, another deciding point. Big chance for Paulsell to get his break lead back. Or an opportunity for Paliouras to get that momentum back on his side, much the way he did in the first set. Oh, just wide from Paliouras, and it's a break for Thomas Paulsell. So we trade deuce point breaks with balls just wide on a deciding point on the left-hand sideline here. Paulsell went wide on the left side to get broken for 2-1, and Paliouras does exactly the same. You see Coach Warren switch sides of the court. Maybe that's a superstition thing. Change up the momentum. Remember, Paulsell did this in the first set. Jumped out to a 4-1 lead before Paliouras got on a run. All these games have been tight, regardless of who's serving. I would say both players probably still going to get plenty of break opportunities. And there's that backhand unforced error from Paulsell. That's been the one spot for him. I think that's let him down more than any other so far. That was deep and a double fault. Double fault for Paulsell. Neither player really taking the serve by the horns here in this second set. There's a nice clean winner from Paulsell. See this next one here. It's getting progressively tougher as these balls wear in to hit those winners, and Paulsell not going for that many of them. Miss there from Paliouras, and now a couple game points and chances for a 4-1 lead. that's exactly what it is. Paulsell gets the hold, takes the 4-1 lead. So in a mirror of our first set, Thomas Paulsell of Georgia jumps out to a 4-1 lead. Closing in on the 10:30 mark. I don't think we certainly didn't get started right at 9. But it was close. I remember remarking that if this match stayed close, it had the markings of a 2.5-hour match. Stand by that take. Could still be the case here. Don't see either of these players dropping mentally. They're both fighting. Look at Paulsell and his Georgia team this year. Going to be an interesting year for him. He's the senior on that team. A lot of new faces coming in for him between both the freshmen and the transfer portal. And then a couple veterans like he and Miguel Perez Pena that have been around for quite a while. Guys that transferred in earlier in their careers like Ryan Colby from USC. Pick up Oscar Pintos and Sano from VCU this year. But it's going to be a lot of new faces for the Bulldogs in Jamie Hunt's first year on the job as the head coach. Been on the staff since 2017, I think. Oh, that's a good backhand down the line there. Let's see if we caught that one. Yeah, beautiful. Probably the kind of aggressiveness that you want to see from Paulsell. He doesn't look like he wants to come into the net type aggressive, but maybe going for a few more clean winners off the ground. Sebastian Domingo won his match this morning over Amar Tahirovic, so the winner of this one to face Domingo in the semifinals.
Let's go. Come on.
Just deep from Paulsell there. You can hear Paliouras trying to keep the energy up. Motivate himself. He knows he was in this same spot in the first set and managed to come back. It's a couple this game of those backhand slices. Been a little too low and flat. There's an ace down the tee to fight off the first break point. Now it'll be a deciding point here for Paliouras. Looks like Paulsell going to take this one in the deuce court. Just deep, questioned by Paliouras, but confirmed by the chair. And it's another break for Paulsell. And it won't be a 4-1 comeback. At least not from 4-1 to 6-4 for Paliouras this set, as Paulsell now breaks for 5-1 and going to get an opportunity to serve for the set. Starts it off with a double fault. You see Paliouras still fighting. A love 30 start. Mystery turn there. Paliouras wants that back, I'm sure. Doesn't want to give any free ones here. Trying to keep this second set alive. There's no quit in him. Thiago Silva knocks off our 2-seed Zambor Velch. Oh, that's nice from Paulsell back behind Paliouras. And Paulsell now. Couple set points to try to level this one and send it to a third. Thiago Silva from Pacific punches his ticket along with Sebastian Domingo to the NCAA tournament. And that one, oh, overruled. And this is why they want electronic line calling. Frankly, I'm with Paliouras there. That ball looked deep. Nevertheless, overruled by the chair. And so it's a 6-1 set for Thomas Paulsell of Georgia. And we will play a third here. So 2 of our quarterfinal matches in the book. Sebastian Domingo, Thiago Silva punching their tickets to the NCAA singles tournament. The other 2 quarterfinals still going. We're headed to a third here. Dead even with Paulsell and Paliouras. And the other match, even behind this one, Anton Arzankin, Western Michigan, and Daniel Torres of Northern Arizona. They're early in a second as they've gone 7-6, 1 all in favor of Torres. So a couple quick matches and a couple long matches here in the quarterfinals. And it looks like didn't have my eyes on it, but I don't see Paliouras, so I'm going to say it looks like he may have gone off and taken his restroom break. Paulsell still there, talking to Coach Warren. Coach Warren telling him whatever it takes. That might be, can't quite tell. I was going to say that might be our women's featured match next door. I know they are on court 20. Looks like Katja Weir's home over there. Unfortunately, just off camera, always interesting to see what the guys do to keep warm while the opponent runs off for their 5-minute extended break if they elect to take it. And it looks like that's what Paliouras has done. So just pacing in and out of camera with mock service returns here. Coach Warren a little antsy too, evidently. He gets back up off the mid-court bench, come over to talk to Paulsell. Again, each player allotted one extended restroom break for 5 minutes, or potentially more, depending. Big tennis facility here in Rome, so maybe they give them a little more if it's a little further to the restrooms, but normally when you're on the college campuses, it's very close by. But Paliouras now back, heading out. He will open up the serve. So after a long break, he'll have to loosen up quickly again here as he's going to start to serve. And there must have been a point penalty awarded. Did not see it. They started in the ad court. Didn't hear. I thought she said 15 love. I'm going to assume it must have been 15 all. Indeed, that is the case. So I did not catch the point penalty. Not sure if that was due to a reaction after dropping the set. Maybe something that was said about the overrule. Not quite sure. Also could have been just a time penalty.
What is that?
Yeah, you hear Paulsell asking, what is that? So after being given a point to start the game at love 15, Paliouras has grabbed the first three on his serve for 40-15. Just wide. That one deep, so 40-30 now. Clarify that point here in a moment. That return long, so Paliouras gets the hold. He'll take the 1-love lead in the third. Got word on that point penalty. I'll give you going to take a little adjustment for me this year as well. New rules in the ITA this year. Last year, the point penalty came on the third overrule. So you got 2 free overrules. The third was a point. Fourth was a game, etc. They've taken one of those away. So your second overrule is now a point. So that overrule Paulsell grabs the first point in his first service game here in the third. That overrule on set point was not only the set lost, but also then the first point in Paliouras' service game of the third. From watching the All-Americans, it definitely seemed to have curbed some of the outcalls. The fears of that second overrule, that is. Good ball there from Paulsell. He's hit that short cross-court angle off the forehand on a few occasions, and it's worked out well for him. A long, long rally, and Paulsell outlast Paliouras there. But notably, Paulsell got that backhand near the end of the point up near the service line and retreated. You can see he absolutely wants no part of getting into the net. That one creeped up on Paliouras, and it's an easy hold for Paulsell. And it's the first time we've started a set with a couple holds here. Overhead into the net. The overhead has not been the best shot for Paliouras today. A couple of the previous misses, though, were on sort of those 75% low balls. That one, just a straight overhead. Plenty of height missed into the net there for Paliouras. Oh, and that one rolls over. And you hear Paliouras with the apology. I'll say that's the sorry, not sorry. That hit the tape so square that it didn't catch any kind of bounce off it. Just over for a clean winner. Oh, and another one very similar, but this one stays on Paliouras' side. So 15-30. Paulsell looking to find the first break in the third. Paliouras now talking to himself after pulling the backhand wide and giving Thomas Paulsell 3 chances to grab that first break of the third. I say first, as we've seen plenty of breaks in this match. Would be surprised if this early in the third we didn't see at least a few more. And another miss from Paliouras, and Paulsell gets the break, the first one of the third. And now after that 5-game run to close out the first set for Paliouras, Thomas Paulsell has won 8 of the last 10 games. And down a break, it seems like it's Paliouras now that's going to have to up this a notch. I don't know that his game's going to change much, but he is just missing more now. Just going to have to execute and not miss as much. He has been the more aggressive of the two, though, when needed. He's come in certainly more times than Paulsell has to the net. Not sure if we'll see any more of that. But I'm guessing we're going to see some emotion from him early in this Paulsell service game, trying to get this one right back. He's fought all match. Let's see what Paulsell can do. He's had big leads, 4-1 in every set so far. And you hear Paulsell say, "Good ball, man." It was a very good ball from Paliouras there. Into the forehand corner and deep. And there it is. What was letting Paulsell down earlier in the match was that ball right there. That backhand just getting pushed long. Well put together point from Paliouras there. Had Paulsell on the run in the backhand corner multiple times. Sent one into the forehand corner, came in behind it. And it's a break at love for Paliouras, and now we're 2-all. Back on serve. So Paulsell unable to consolidate that break. Gives it right back and quickly to Paliouras, and we've got a match. Well played by by Paliouras there. Both guys taking some cuts at those forehands. Wow. Thomas Paulsell. Seemed like that one might have been a little more out of frustration. Clean winner. Now an opening for Paulsell to make it 3 breaks in a row as that backhand from Paliouras just finds the tape. There's no give in game style from either of these two. They've both played the same game the whole match. It's just going to come down to who executes better. Whoever can execute their game is likely going to be the one to win. Neither giving the other too much. Great serve from Paliouras there. I think he probably caught Paulsell off guard. Has hit more slices, a little softer. That one a little hard and flat. Change of speed for a service winner. Paulsell maybe a little anxious there after hitting a clean winner earlier in the game. Probably questioning that as soon as he hit it. They've been playing the rally game and he went early for the winner. So a couple game points here now after a 15-30 hole for Paliouras. And that's that backhand again. Paliouras finds the weak spot. Paulsell unable to time that backhand, didn't even make it to the net. Paliouras keeps us on serve here, 3-2. Boy, these guys are working hard. Two hours in, deep in midway through a third now. Paulsell moving Paliouras around there very well. And there's that short angle cross-court forehand from Paulsell again for a winner. Hit that on multiple occasions. It's worked out well. Another good play from Paulsell. 40 love for him now. Have seen no indication of either player tiring. Not overly warm here in Rome. 73 degrees right now. And there's an ace for Paulsell to hold for 3-all. Both players look to be doing fine physically. High today, only supposed to be around 80 or so. Little overcast, not too sunny. Perfect conditions for some tennis. No signs of either player cramping or getting tired in the least. Both guys look very fit. If I had the Paliouras physique, I might go sleeveless too. You saw a little off speed, tried to take something off of that. Just didn't look super comfortable with that shot, and the love 15 start here. So 2 breaks so far in the third here, back to back. Coming at 2-1 and 2-all. That were those 2 breaks. And that's a good approach from Paliouras. He has been the one that's been more apt to get to the net. Took advantage of that short ball with the backhand and came in behind it. Paulsell getting the better of that extended rally. Seems to be the story of the long rallies. It's either Paliouras misses one long or Paulsell manages to find that backhand net. But long rallies have been the name of the game here. Oh, Paulsell wants that one back. There's a lot of spin on that approach shot from Paliouras, and it sat up and gave Paulsell a good look. And he just yanked that backhand hard, flat, and wide. So 30 all. Oh, and a miss hit there. You could hear it. That one not clean off the racket from Paliouras, and Paulsell got himself a couple more break points. And again, a deciding point at a crucial point now. 3 all here in the third. Oh, and Paliouras sails the backhand long. He had a couple balls there that looked like they were headed into the net and managed to get over. And it looked like that might have affected the way he hit points further into the point. Or shots further into the point. And that backhand eventually sails long, and Paulsell gets the break. And he'll serve now up a break 4-3 in the third. And there's an approach and an overhead put away from Paulsell to start this service game. The only other time he was broken here in the third, or that he earned the break here in the third, he was broken right back 2-1 going to 2 all. So that was at love. That ball confirmed long by the chair. The danger for Paliouras now as well. We mentioned the overrule. So he was given the point penalty on the overrule to end the second set. He literally can't afford to call anything close out at this point because the next overrule would be a game. There's a rare forehand error from Paulsell, unforced. Just wide. So close for Paliouras, but Paulsell now 3 points for a 5-3 lead. Untimely double fault. 40-15, not the worst time in the world, but the way they've played these long points could go either way. It's a good deep return from Paliouras, and he puts the pressure on Paulsell. Now a deuce deciding point. Much like earlier in the set, when Paulsell broke, Paliouras had chances to break back and took advantage. He at least has the chance here. Let's see if he can take advantage. Wow, a risky out call from Paliouras, facing a game penalty if he's overruled, and the chair confirms that one out. Oh, and it's another Paulsell backhand error. And Dimi Paliouras gets the break back for 4-all here in the third. The Paulsell backhand, it's been good, don't get me wrong, but when the errors have come, and that's where they've come. And that backhand lets him down on a long rally, on a deciding point at 4-3. I think it's my old co-host and partner, Alex Gruskin, that always says it's never a match until it's 4-all in the third. Well, it's 4-all in the third, folks. Those have been the misses for Paliouras. Generally, when he's missed, they've been long. To be fair, that's Gruskin's line, but I don't think Gruskin says he says it. I think he says his former coach, Josh Molino, now the head coach at Florida Gulf Coast, is the one that always told him that. Molino leaving his post as the assistant coach at Tulsa to take over at FGCU. Oh, beautiful forehand deep in the corner from Paliouras there. Long rally. Whoever wins this match is certainly going to have earned it. These long rallies are fun to watch. Neither player really giving the other one anything. Oh, Paliouras looked like he couldn't decide between topspin and having to get over that or just getting it back, and he went for an awkward-looking slice. Didn't find its way in the court, but again, a long rally. The depth from these two has been remarkable. Neither one really wants to get to the net too much. Paliouras more apt to do so than Paulsell has been. But nevertheless, they've both kept the balls deep, not only preventing the other from coming in, but really preventing either from taking too big a cut at a clean winner. Another miss from Paliouras, and it's the battle of the breaks now. Very tough spot here for Paliouras and a big opportunity for Paulsell. 3 chances to break for 5-4 here in the third and get an opportunity to serve for the match. Oh, and the missed volley. Tried to get a little too tricky with it there. Going for the cross-court drop volley was Paliouras. And you see the emotion from Paulsell. He gets the break, and he now will have an opportunity to serve this one out. 5-4 in the third. Thomas Paulsell has given up a break lead twice in this set so far already. Has it for a third time and now serving for the match. See if Dimi Paliouras can find one more break to keep this one alive. Misses the first return. Not saying this match is going to end here, but should it end, I will jump over and join our women's featured match of the day in progress. And there's another backhand error from Paulsell. In these moments when if you're going to get tight, those are the moments where you might be apt to. Paulsell has missed a few of those backhands. I would imagine that's a spot Paliouras is going to look to get to here. Oh, clean winner. Must have just caught the tape based on the apology from Paliouras. But take a look at this. It's actually a good approach from Paulsell. On the run winner from Paliouras. So 15-30 now for Paulsell. Oh, and a forehand into the net. Gives Paliouras 3 break chances. These guys are trading breaks now, and Paulsell's got himself in a spot of trouble trying to serve this match out. And it is a break for Dimi Paliouras. Paulsell uncharacteristically into the net trying to close this one out. And he can't close out that game. Broken from 15-40. So that's now 6 breaks in 10 games here in the third. Needless to say, the serve not overly important for either of these two. Oh, clean winner. In the corner, caught Paliouras wrong-footed. Well done for Paulsell there. But you see the backhand here for Paulsell now. He's either going slice or soft topspin. He did hit one cross court, kind of nice over the top that point, but taking very few chances with his backhand now, well aware of the fact that that's where his errors are coming. Well played by Paulsell. Ace there from Paliouras. I won't be surprised if that trend continues from Paulsell, if we do see Paliouras pressure that and come in behind, if he's going to continue to slice that backhand back. try to make him hit one. Deep. That's where the misses have been for Paliouras again. Is deep. It's generally where you want your guys to miss, though. If they're going to miss, hitting out and hitting through the ball. Better than in the net, I should say. Oh, and that's a winner from Paulsell. Paliouras did elect to come in. On that backhand, but Paulsell managed to hit the pass. And there's a clean winner. On the +1. And I think I have some scoring issues here. Honestly, not positive. I think it's actually 30-40 here. I think that was 15-40 and not 30 all. Oh, and the overhead finally hit by Paliouras. He's missed several overheads today. And you heard the exclamation coming off of that one. Not only was it because of the winner, but I'm sure some sense of finally made an overhead. And now a deciding point here at 5 all in the third on the Paliouras serve. What a point! Wow, I wish I had a stroke count on that rally, but Thomas Paulsell in the end comes up with the 7th break of the set in what had to be a 40-plus stroke rally. Would love to go back and count that one. And you saw he hit nothing but slice backhands, but they weren't short enough to let Paliouras do anything with them. Couldn't really approach on them. Few ebbs and flows during that point, but what a tremendous point. And Thomas Paulsell eventually gets that ball into the corner, too far out of the reach of Paliouras to be able to get it back. Got a racket on it, but couldn't put it back. And now, for the 4th time this set, Thomas Paulsell will serve up a break. He has failed to hold the last 3 times. We'll see if the 4th time's a charm. See Paliouras getting himself set there. Ooh, and you could see Paulsell doesn't like it, and you could see the delay from Paliouras even calling it, because he knows that's the match if he gets overruled. It's a game penalty, and that ball was soft and easy to see, and he waited a long time to call that. The drop shot was not good enough from Paliouras. Paulsell easily covers it. Hits a clean winner. So 15 all now. Three points from a match for Paulsell. 3 points from a breaker for Paliouras. Good forehand deep. Paulsell got a good clean look at it, but couldn't find the court. 15-30. What a match this has been. Said it earlier, neither player really changed anything style-wise. It's just been a matter of execution. Both grinding it out. Whoa. Well long. I would say a very tight second serve there from Paulsell. Between that and all the backhand slices on the deciding point, I think definitely a little nerves in Paulsell here. It's one way to get rid of him. Just hit an ace. Crucial point now here for Paliouras. If he doesn't get it, give Paulsell a match point. Oh, Paulsell got away with that. He was in no man's land. He hit the ball from the midcourt, was going to come in, and decided at the last minute he didn't want to come in and had to backpedal. But now it's a match point deciding point here. Oh, it was meant to be. All those backhand slices, and you knew eventually Paliouras was going to go down the line and follow it in, and he did just that. So Thomas Paulsell on match point deuce is broken again. 8 breaks in this set. And we'll play a tie break. That was beautifully done by Paliouras. Kept peppering that backhand of Paulsell's, and Paulsell kept hitting the slice back. And he finally got one short enough to push it down the line and follow it in. And then the nervous part was executing that volley, which he did for a winner. So it's a 3rd set breaker for the match. Just deep. And Paulsell with the early mini break. I said we might be in for a 2.5-hour match if it stayed close. According to our online scoring, it's been 2 hours and 36 minutes. These guys are battling it out. Oh, that lob was good from Paulsell. What a shot. The way Paliouras didn't chase it, I thought it was deep. It was just too good. And that was off an excellent volley deep in the corner from Paliouras. Paulsell comes up with the goods. What a lob. Oh, and that ball lands good from Paulsell. Catches Paliouras at the feet. Unable to get it back, and Paulsell now. Just one mini break, but a quick 3-love lead in the breaker. As Paliouras had come in again on that last point, but Paulsell with another well-placed lob. Forced Paliouras to hit a modified backhand overhead, which landed just inside the baseline, but Paulsell comes out with the point. Oh, Paulsell rolling now. It's another approach from Paliouras. And a backhand slice pass from Paulsell. Can't argue with the intent. You know he's slicing, so you come in on it. But Paulsell just sliced that one beautifully down the line, and now Paliouras facing a tall mountain here at love 4 in the breaker. And a gift from Paulsell there, so a free point for Paliouras to get on the board. But 4-1, Paulsell serving here. Got to get at least one of the mini breaks back here if you're Paliouras. Deep. Just deep. And Paulsell 5-1 at the turn here as they'll change ends. This match now, tiebreak in the third, still ahead of our other quarterfinal match still going, as Anton Arzhankin has a 4-2 lead in the third over Daniel Torres. Arzhankin from Western Michigan, Torres of Northern Arizona. Paulsell here serving 5-1. Feels like a must point for Paliouras. Got to get a mini break here. Oh, slice. That's the mirror of the cross-court forehand angles that Paulsell's been hitting for winners all match. This time it's a backhand slice short angle cross-court to give Thomas Paulsell a 6-1 lead. And a host of match points. A quintuple, I suppose we might say. Quintet? Not sure. Oh, Paliouras misses the volley, and Thomas Paulsell of Georgia prevails 4-6, 6-1, 7-6 in an absolute battle over Demetrius Paliouras from Georgia Southern. And Paulsell punches his ticket into the NCAA singles tournament, and a heartbreaker for Paliouras. That'll do it for our men's featured match, folks. I'm going to jump over and see if our women's match is still going. It's been a long one here. Catch me on the other stream if you want to catch Weir, Shulman, Haynes. But for everything, Gruskin will have all the calls tomorrow. I will be back for the men's finals on Sunday. Until then,